Welcome back to Any Given Monday. James Nitties, broadcaster now, former PGA Tour member. James, I was doing research for this pod. I don't know if you know this. If you've ever gone to the Wikipedia page for the 2008 Q School graduates, it lists on the side like career highlights for the players up until that point, and then starts and stuff. And it's like Harrison Frazier, who won that year that you came in second or third, second?
Yeah, tied second, I think. Yes.
Yeah, tied second.
Yeah.
So he shot 59, he had 300 career starts at that point. There was like Jason Duffner had 3 nationwide wins, blah, blah, blah. And it has James Nitties 1 Von Tita Tour win. Is that, it was like the Korn Ferry Von Nita?
Von Nita Tour, yeah.
Yes.
You got it good. It's like the Korn Ferry Tour.
Of the Aussie Tour.
The Aussie Tour, yeah. So it was, not a lot of victories for your boy Nitties.
You've had it's just a grinder, but it reminded me, I've told this story before, you may have heard it, but when I caddied for Mark at the AT&T, we're coming up 18 at Pebble Beach, and we were playing with Peter Jacobson, and on the scoreboard it had like Peter's like amazing accomplishment on the board, and then it flashed to Mark and it said like 2013 Olive Garden Pro-Am champion on the Dakotas Tour. I was like, this is perfect.
Yeah.
All right, James, let's start here. Do you miss golf? I know there's a lot of factors that went to stop playing, and health and all of those, status and all those things, but do you miss it?
100%. I miss competing at any level. Especially I miss playing tournaments back in Australia. Like, I played a couple of years on tour, but, and the Players' Championship was probably my highlight as far as, I miss a cut at one US Open, had a cup of coffee on the PGA Tour, but I really miss playing the Aussie events like the Australian Masters. It's not around anymore. The Australian Open, always on the Sandbelt or in Sydney at just iconic courses and really well-run tournaments that they always used to be able to get at least a big draw card from the US market, like a Tiger Woods would come out and play Aussie Open, Aussie Masters. You obviously, Rory's won the Australian Open, Spieth, and they would add to the event, but the events was just so cool. And a lot of the Korn Ferry Tour grads this year that have that little bit of off season. I think I talked to Pontus Nyholm and tried to convince guys like that, hey man, go down to Australia, try to get your agent to get yourself into the Aussie Open, make it a holiday, visit maybe New Zealand on the way back, play some golf there. But I just miss competing, obviously back at home, but I just miss that feeling you get from having to hit a shot under pressure. And although I wouldn't have said this late in my career, but I miss the grind of getting ready for a tournament, like knowing what my schedule for the week is. It's short game day today, get in the gym on Wednesday, so I miss the all around, concept of being a professional golfer. And it's one of those things. If money wasn't an object, I'd still chase professional golf, even if it was at mini tour level. And, a lot of guys are hanging out playing professional golf still where they probably shouldn't be. But it's just because they want to be a pro golfer. It's not because they're trying to make money. And it's like you always have that chance of maybe if I play well this week. But I was a little long in the tooth playing Adams Tour events, late in my career and other mini tour events and doing Mondays, just playing alongside some of those kids. I'm like, I can't compete with this old decrepit body the way I was breaking down. And these guys are just in 40-degree weather, just striping at 320 down the fairway. So it was time, but yes, I definitely miss competing at a high level. Yep.
Let's start with your trip back to the States. You tweeted about it on a recent tweet, and I don't even remember what it was about, but a bunch of Aussie guys came over to the Hooters Tour. Is that like, looking back, James, the golf becomes more of a job and more of a lonely sport the higher you get? The PGA Tour, you're kind of, not that you don't have friends out there, but isn't the camaraderie of like, we're all trying to get to the next level. You're at the highest level. So now you're competitors more than your friends. Like the Hooters Tour, driving around with a bunch of guys from Australia, like were those take the financial side out of it. I know that part sucked, but like, were those the most fun times in your pro golf career? If not, what was?
Definitely. Look, the best feeling I ever had in professional golf was, like you said, when I finished second at Q School, I knew I was getting a PGA Tour card. Like, I can still feel that in my bones that day of knowing, hey, I've got a full year on tour. And to quickly touch on that story, when you talked about Harrison Fraser, and I played with him in that fourth round. It was 6 rounds back then. Obviously, I think it was top 25 got a PGA Tour card.
Yeah.
I played with him in that round where he had 4 feet on the last 58. And this is, back when that was crazy. Yeah. And then we didn't play together in the 5th round. Then the 6th round, he was 7 under through 10. I think he had a 10-shot lead. I was like, I went up to him. I was like, mate, relax. Like, you've got this. And he's one of those guys that I think could have went on to do special things. I think he had bad injuries, double hip surgery, all that sort of stuff. Yeah. Anyway, I digress. But outside of that feeling, the mini tour grind for us when we first turned professional was so much fun. It's a little different these days, especially, everyone wants to get to the PGA Tour and it's business-like. Even Korn Ferry Tour, I say the camaraderie's kind of gone. Yeah. It's gotten too business-like out there as well. And understandably, the money that's in professional golf right now and how good you have to be and how much you have to take advantage of your situation, I get it. You're spending 20 grand on a track, man. You're not going to waste it. So, but for us, yeah, I think I got one Hooters Tour win, but it wasn't about money back then. Like, most of us Aussies didn't have really a lot of cash. So it was all about making a check to get to the next event and cover expenses, and then just enjoy traveling the States. And I get a lot of professionals these days, even young guys, are saying how lonely the sport is. For us, it wasn't that way at all. We, Australians typically like to travel. So when we got to America, for me, I remember it just felt like a college movie. We're playing these tournaments with our best buddies, and then, the weekend we're looking for fun bars and exciting activities to do. It was almost like a 2 or 3 year long boys trip. Yeah. So it wasn't about getting to the next level. Yes, we were always priming ourselves for Q School, and the talent was ridiculous. I mean, at one point I was traveling. It was me, David Luteris, Nick Flanagan, Michael Sim, Mark Leishman, and I remember 4 of us Monday qualified for a Korn Ferry Tour that week out of like 6 dudes. And it's just, and then, the other 2 would caddy, and it was just a crazy fun bandwagon of all these guys that just, we'd all pile into cars. And I think Valdosta, Georgia, we played a tournament, a Hooters Tour event one year. And I remember the hotel room was $70 for the week. So, we'd cram 4 dudes in there. We're eating at Golden Corral. We're partying downtown in Valdosta. There might have been some shady deals happening in that car park. Oh, yeah. In the wee hours of the morning, maybe some ladies of the night there, and some paraphernalia getting but we were just like young kids having fun. Obviously locked the doors. I think one year our room got broken into. We had to call the cops, but they broke in. There's 6 of us in this room. He's like, "Oh, we're getting it now." So
wrong room.
Yeah, no, and the typical stories you hear, like bought a car for $2,000 between 5 of us, and just traveled all around America in it. So definitely the best times. But look, no families, no responsibilities. Money wasn't an object because we didn't care if we made any. We just were like paycheck to paycheck. We were all cheap dates. So I think it's a little different doing it as a 45-year-old if you wanted to do it, or a struggling professional. But for us, it was just so much fun. I could tell a lot of stories on here, but I think that's for a different and a longer podcast.
Yeah, one day my goal, James, one day is to get a bunch of Hooter Tours and e-golf guys in a room, and Leishman or whoever, Cam Smith, whoever, you'd start to remember, you remember when that guy broke in? Yeah. Do you remember this? And the story, and I would just do it with no names or nothing, just a room of guys telling stories. It would break the internet.
It's stuff that just doesn't the stories that I have, and I get it, because you could get a long way on just talent alone in professional golf back then. Now you have to be optimized in every facet of your game, body, mind, soul, whatever. But there's a lot of times where, I mean, you'd go out and have a couple beers, and you'd tee it up the next day. you play well, a little hungover or something, because the Hooters Tour we used to play where there was so much money in the top of the leaderboard. Even if you made the cut and played bad after Saturday, you're in we used to call it like the $500 club. You could go shoot 8 under and you're going to earn $500. So it was, we're like, okay, well, it's Saturday night. I'm Australian. I'm in a different country. Let's go have a little bit of fun. And, half the time, some of the guys would find their ways into playoffs or shoot like 10 under the next day. And so, a little differently constructed with responsibilities and the trajectory of professional golf these days. But, we could go down some rabbit holes for sure, some fun stories.
And mini tours don't exist like that anymore. Like, guys, I mean, there isn't enough mini tours played back-to-back weeks like the Hooters did, big enough purses, big enough fields. So even if you're Australian, like, guys like cherry pick mini tour events where they can play. They don't play one tour exclusively like those days. You can hardly drive, and if you drive, it's spread out over weeks. So it's like you drive home and then you drive back. It's just, the mini tour golf is seen as kind of a mess in the U.S., quite frankly. And
it's unfortunate because, look, PGA America's the feeder tour to Korn Ferry Tour. That's not really a mini tour, even though it's mini tour purses. But the Q schools fill up in 2 seconds to get into even trying to get on that tour. Back then, you'd have the Hooters Tour or Adams Tour or APT Tour. They would follow around the Korn Ferry Tour event, so you could go and use your money to play a mini tour event, prime yourself. Even if you didn't win, you'd be close by for a Monday qualifier, and then you could kind of put those two together. But now it's, look, I don't play golf anymore, and people are like, why don't you play a mini tour event? I'm like, I got to go shoot 30 under to spend $1,500, and they're glorified these awesome play. Like it's not as viable anymore. Now you're really just playing one to keep warm, and it's so much money that you throw, travel expenses, rental cars, it's just gone through the roof. I really feel for the young prospect that's trying to make it in golf, that is trying to find something to play in before Q school or even Monday qualifiers, because it's turned into from a $1,500 week to now $3,500 to $4,000. So it's very tough. And it's a problem. I talked to a buddy the other day that we used to have. I think when I was on the Korn Ferry Tour after I played on the PGA Tour, we had 18 Aussies and like 7 or 8 Kiwi guys at one stage. Now this year there was 2 Aussies, and next year there might be 1, because it's just so expensive to glorify paying $20,000 after the exchange rate to come over to America and playing one of is the most competitive Q schools in the world. For an Aussie to come over and try to play that for $20,000, it's just not worth it. So they're going to take other venues, which I'm sure we could get into different avenues of how that it's kind of funneled to a specific golfer now. And for Q school, you're not going to get as many international guys, because not only is it so competitive, it's so expensive.
And I mean, to your point that you said earlier, James, is everybody optimizes everything. The days of sleeping 4 in a room are over, because the guys used to, when you were playing, you were competing against 90% of the field that was doing the same exact thing, sleeping 4 to a room, not getting great sleep, having too many beers. Now, guys, 1, maybe 2, like no one's sleeping in the same room anymore. They might get like a suite or Airbnb, and you can't compete against guys. So you feel the pressure, understandably, to not do that. And so all that camaraderie is gone. I'm not like trying to opine about the good old days, but those were the good old days. Like my dad and I caddied on the Hooters Tour. There was a Monday qualifier with like 50 guys, 40 guys to pay $1,500. Like you won. You got through the Monday qualifier and you're paid $1,500 to play in a mini tour event. Is insane. Like you can't get more than 60 guys anymore.
Yeah, I think I played Hooters Tour when they were just bringing in qualifiers. But to be fair, the qualifiers, you had to break 80 and you would qualify for a Hooters Tour event back then. You didn't have to optimize. Once again, you could get a long way on just talent. And like I think a lot of the PGA Tour players and the Hall of Famers back in the 50s and 60s, a lot of guys would get a long way on just talent. There was no optimizing. All those guys, the Arnies, the Jacks, the Hogans, they're having a cigar and a whiskey in the bar after every round. They're not out rolling and stretching, doing cold plunges. And now I think it's gone where it's such a fine line to compete as a professional golfer. I'm not even talking about the top level. I'm talking mini tour level. That if you're not doing those things now, you can't just be the guy that's like, hey, I just bomb it and I make putts and I'm going to make money. And no. So I think golf, I've always said it when I've done some broadcasting with the PGA Tour, how the guys like Rose, the older guys that are still competitive, stick around, and it's because of hard work. And when I say hard work, it's not grinding on the range. It's going home after shooting 74 or 72 and spending 2 hours when you've got a family, not sitting on the couch, and spending 2 hours going through your round, working out your stats, stretching, rolling. And, you know, because the kids that are 22, 23 are doing this now. So you're eliminating, you know, as you obviously father time, you know, the body slows down. Like my swing is totally different than it was 10 years ago because of my flexibility. And unless I'm okay at spending 2-3 hours a day on stretching, my swing's just not going to be the same. So there's a lot into it for these older guys. And when I say older, it's the late 30s, to keep up with the younger guys, because not only are the younger guys doing all the talent perspective things really, really well, they're doing the off-course stuff even better. Mental coaches, TrackMan stats, all that stuff. So you have to pay so much more attention to all facets of the game at every level if you're going to compete and make money. And the reason I quit is because, you know, my tax man said, hey, if you're not making 20 grand a year, the hobby is, you got to give it up. And I'm like, well, I lost money the last 5 years, so it's definitely time to move on.
I always have this debate on Twitter. They always say, oh, look at so-and-so's career money with, you know, like 6 million. I'm like, okay, let's just do some math here. 6 million disappears pretty quickly. I mean, 6 million, like, I mean, not that. Again, I never say feel sorry for these guys. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just trying to give some reality to what $6 million means, you know?
Yeah, I think I played 15 years as a professional. I played pretty well in Australia. Like, I didn't get a lot of wins, like you pointed out. Thanks for that. I didn't get any wins, but I did well in a lot of big events as a young guy. Like top 5, top 2, nearly won Aussie Open. Like that. That's how I was known as a decent golfer. Is like I competed well in the big events. But, you know, then I played 2 years on tour. I had a pretty good rookie year. I just missed keeping my card in the second year, and then played 7-8 years, Korn Ferry Tour. I was out of money by COVID. Like, I was totally zeroed out. And you would think, okay, I made a fair bit of money. I was a decent golfer, got to top 150 in the world. Now, obviously, my agent did some shifty stuff, might have attributed to that. But there's a lot of guys that have a really good career that haven't got any money left. If you want to chase it, and I did, probably played a couple more years than I needed to, but hey, I just wanted to try and, you know, feel like sometimes you've got the game. So it's not as lucrative as it is. Like, I know a lot of guys that had a decent professional career that stepped away in their 7th or 8th year and got like a decent job, and now they're printing cash due to networks and, you know, just being a good face, half decent golfer in a good company. So if you have opportunities, sometimes you have to take it, even though the dream feels like it's right there and you could still be a professional golfer.
Okay, let's talk about broadcasting, James. Does it fill some of the void of missing the game, being around it, or does it make it harder knowing that you were out there?
No, it fills some of the void. And let me tell you this, you never miss a cut in broadcasting. So you always get a check and you never miss a cut. No, you know what, the only likeness I could say to being a professional golfer is, and broadcasting is, it's really cool. Right, the 10-second countdown before we go on air, you never know what you're going to say, and you feel those kind of first tee jitter nerves. It's almost like, okay, I got to be perfect. I know I've prepped and I'm ready to go, but it's that kind of pressure. Like, I've done all the work off camera, so now I need to let it fly. You know, perspective is when the gun goes off. So I love getting those nerves of not knowing what's going to happen, because you never know with golf. You never know if someone's going to go low or shoot a bad one, or it's going to be a really exciting finish. So you can't really prepare for what you're going to say. And that's what I love about broadcasting. And of course, I get to cover golf, considering I wasn't this world beater golfer. Like, everyone usually that has an opportunity in broadcasting has come from being a major winner, a tour winner, a staple on the tour. So the fact that I had an opportunity to get out there and they gave me a chance to talk on camera and on a microphone, I was like, hey, this is great. I need to take this. And I really enjoy it. And I'm really lucky to have that opportunity. Now I feel a little bit more stressed because I know I could get replaced anytime by someone that has played on tour or someone that does have a little bit better pedigree than me. Yes. But I love working towards broadcast, trying to tell the story a little different than some broadcasts do. Like, obviously America is very stat driven, very points driven, and then over in Europe, you listen to different broadcasts and they're story driven and personality driven. So it's like trying to not be the best broadcaster for everyone, because everyone has a different taste.
Yeah.
It's almost trying to work out what could I tell the viewer that they're not hearing if they're just sitting there on their couch and blatantly watching golf. And that's the fun, creative side of being a broadcaster, is like trying to come up with new narratives and angles where it could really tell someone something they haven't heard before. And there's still a lot of pressure involved. I still mess up here and there, and I'm still trying not to get fired day in, day out by saying the wrong thing. But I think that's what makes it so fun and like to being a professional golfer, is that you just never know what's going to happen, and you never know what the week's going to bring.
For those that don't know, you and Shane do, all of the play-by-play outside of the, like, Andres is there. There's a few on-course reporters. But does that help chemistry overall, or it's harder because in golf, most of the broadcast is like 30-second, 1 minute snippets across many holes. For you and Shane, it's every group, every hole. Does that make the chemistry in the booth harder, easier? You have to work at it more, James? What is that dynamic like?
A bit of everything you just said. Look, I think any decent broadcasters are part of a team. So, you listen to Buck and Aikman, or whoever your duo is that you like for NFL, NBA, there's always that team that knows each other really well. And yes, I do. I've been lucky enough to be analyst for Korn Ferry Tour for 4 years now. Korn Ferry Tour is closest to my heart. So, I spent most of my time out there and any other tour in the world. And I think the chemistry you build with a team helps dramatically. Me and Bacon spend a lot of time together, but we almost know what someone's going to say. So I know either he's setting me up on a point, or he's trying to wrap something up and we don't have time and we've got to, go to commercial, go to something else. I know to add something on the back of that, and vice versa. Bacon's like unbelievable. I'm glad that he's so invested in the Korn Ferry Tour, and he's same as me. He knows my personality. We give each other a little shit. If you watch our broadcasts, we'll go at each other, but we know each other personally. We're not insecure about it. And we try to, we broadcast from an angle. You're not really allowed to do this in most other broadcasts, but we want the Korn Ferry Tour guys to do well. So we're kind of biased for the Korn Ferry Tour guys. There's so many cool stories out there, and it's such a fine line between getting your PGA Tour card and maybe never seeing the tour again. I was that guy. I finished that one spot out, getting a PGA Tour card and going back there, and I never got back there. So the emotion and the stories you get from guys that no one's ever heard of is so real and raw. And to be a part of it, us as a team, getting to know a lot of these guys now, it's not as easy because we're never on site. Outside of the Tour Championships, we do it from a studio. So I'm like DMing rookies and guys that are just new on the tour and trying to get personalities and researching that way. But I think, look, I did 20 events broadcasting last year, did the US Open, did about 7 or 8 PGA Tour live events. But it's always a carousel of different hosts and analysts working together. So you're almost working out how to massage the situation where, how does the host react to certain things? What does he like to talk about? And as an analyst, I'm sure the host is doing the same thing. So being a part of a team of a tour that we love, our whole Korn Ferry Tour team is so good. We don't have the manpower that we cop a little heat when we come on after a major broadcast. And I'm like, guys, we got like 10 cameras out there. We're working with a 4-second delay, so we can't have the back and forth with the walker. And the walker has to kind of know when we're done. Obviously a 4-second delay, no one works with that. So a 4-second delay is like, hey, if you're Andreas, who was doing the Korn Ferry Tour Championships, he's walking with the lead group. We ask him a question. He doesn't hear it for 4 seconds. We don't hear his reply for 4 seconds. So it's almost like you've got to predict what he's going to say. And yes, we set all this up. We research, we talk to each other. Hey, button up certain scenarios. But, you've also got a producer in your ear telling, hey, we're going to commercial, or we're going here, we're going there, wrap this up. And so I think the whole team just does such a great job and really feels the Korn Ferry Tour. Like we enjoy doing these events. So I think being able to work with someone week in, week out, build on each other's personalities, have a little fun, and then really tell a good story on a tour that no one really knows about, has really, really big stories that could evolve. And then actually being able to go and do some tour live, knowing all these Korn Ferry guys like these Kiefers and Brennans and all the guys that no one's ever heard of until they win their first event, and then they just go viral. So yeah, it's been a really good progression to work alongside and cover Korn Ferry Tour and really have the same crew every week.
I assume, James, I did not make fun, but laughed at the Von Nita, but you had a really good career. Very few people can say they've won in many countries. They held the PGA Tour card, almost got your card back for the third year. But I assume you can relate to so many stories on the Korn Ferry because you've been in almost all of those positions, right? Like you've won, you've lost, you've ran out of money, you've had some money. That is, as a listener, that's what I want, is like, I don't give a shit about how his driving distance is. It's like the Korn Ferry to me is just, for the most part, we should be marketing these people, these players more than anything. Not my job, but I think the Korn Ferry's job is like, let's not have the Will Zalatoris situation where they go, where's this guy come from? Like, what do you mean he's been amazing forever? So I assume that is what you pull from your playing career in broadcast. It's like you felt everything those players are going to feel. Yeah,
I think so. I finished 26. I think I missed getting my PGA Tour card back in 2011 by like $4,000 or $5,000. And if anyone that's close to me knows that I missed, and not due to my extra curricular activities, but I missed a tee time in the second last event of the season, and I was running second. So there's not a lot of people out there that, it's not quite Luke Kwan. We weren't playing for a $1.7 million. I didn't just sleep through for no reason. But yeah, I missed a tee time where I was running second in the tournament after 2 rounds. Second last event of the year. Got a bad bout of food poisoning. Actually was up at 7 a.m. Was up, coming out of both ends. You know how it is. It was just a really bad night. I could have played. No excuses, but took some medication, fell back asleep. And I actually woke up 20 minutes before my tee time, drew a bunch of calls in the hotel phone because my phone was on silent. And back in the day, when you price lined, you did express price line or whatever. And So I was staying past Atlantic Beach in Jacksonville, and everyone knows A1A takes like 45 minutes from down there to get to Sawgrass. And I remember talking to Rich Pearson. I'm like, hey, man, I'm not going to make that tee time. I'm going to get there 20 minutes late. And he's like, are you sure? And I'm like, yeah. So I got a DQ there.
Does it keep you up at night, James, ever?
No, because if I was good enough, I would have got back there. It's like, yes, the first 3, 4, 5 years after that, it was pretty rough. And, I lost my father the year after that, which I think I would prefer, because if I was on the PGA Tour, my father would never have let me come home. So from America to Australia, and then he passed away rather quickly. So it was like when I was on the Korn Ferry Tour, I was like, I'm coming back. And so yes, but once again, it's a story I look back on now. I still loved my career. I would have got back there. And then I grinded out on the Korn Ferry Tour. Like you said, I was the guy that I missed the playoffs by one. I made a putt on the last from about 15 foot to make the Korn Ferry Tour. Well, it's finals now. I made it on the number. Then the year after that, I was a guy that missed conditional status by one, and then got it by one. So I've been everywhere. I've been that cusp guy. I think that really helps me being able to get the emotion right in a broadcast for a lot of these guys that are on the cusp trying to get their PGA Tour card or trying to keep Korn Ferry Tour status. So yes, it definitely helps a lot, because I didn't just waltz onto Korn Ferry Tour and leave like a lot of players, and so that helps. Yeah, but it was thanks. I had a fun career. You left out the big break there. Sometimes a lot of people.
Oh yeah, big break.
They're always like, "Hey man, I remember you on the big break," and I was like, "What are you talking about? I played a couple of years on tour. Give me a break." So I had a really fun time. It was really fun progression I loved golf. I was a scrappy player. Got to play with a lot of special guys, and then my best result came at a tournament that people would think fits my personality the most, at the WM Phoenix Open, and that was just a blast. So being able to play in a stadium-like field. So I got to do a lot of special things as a professional golfer, and I think it's been a I wouldn't say a successful career, but it's been a fun one, definitely.
I always ask this to the guys who have stopped playing. Are you proud of your career? How did you feel about your career when you stopped playing, James? And how do you feel about your career, a couple of years removed from playing full time? Like, I know that's a broad question to say, are you proud of your career? But
yeah, I wouldn't say I'm proud. Yes and no. To get the opportunity, I think, is very lucky. Like, to make it to the PGA Tour, there's a lot of great golfers, and there was a lot of better golfers than me growing up. Not a lot, but in my age group and where I came out,
there was plenty of can't miss kids that missed.
Yes. Yeah. And so to have the opportunity and have a good rookie year, and not just be like, hey, I lost my card, dropped down to the Korn Ferry Tour and never did anything. So I got to. Very fortunate to be able to compete at that level, play with the guys I did, be in the mix. Like, personally, I think I should have won the Phoenix Open. I was, as a rookie, third event. I think I played Bob Hope Classic, which is now the Amex, shot 10 under in my third round to miss the cut there. So I was playing well, got it. One of the last guys to get into, WM Phoenix Open. Man, I could tell you some stories about that week too. Man, there's like I was talking about mini tour stories.
You got to start your own podcast.
PGA Tour stories I could have. That's a lot of stuff that doesn't happen anymore. But anyway, that was just such a highlight, that to look back and be like, hey, I played a major. I was in the mix in several PGA Tour events. I couldn't have, if you asked me that when I was a 16-year-old putting in the dark on the putting green, I would have been like, yes, please. That'd be a great career. So do I think I could have got a little more out of it? Yes, but I had my opportunity. I had my chance. So being able to just be a part of, a really small club is really fun to look back on. And now, man, it's 15 years. I mean, I went and played a cash game with my buddies yesterday, and you can never shake playing with the tour player here.
Yeah.
Boys, the body is wrecked. That was 15 years ago.
It's hard to get strokes, I assume, James, as a former tour player. It's like,
that's
just the guy.
Former tour players that aren't good anymore, because I play 40 times a year. I've got the hands of a blind goat around the greens. It's like I just donate money as a tour player now. So I'm still losing money, and I'm not even playing professional golf.
Yeah, it's like, dude, I don't play anymore.
Yes.
All right, same question. I always ask this to former pro golfers, PGA Tour members. Is it hard to accept playing golf anymore, James? I mean, I went through this on a much, much, much smaller scale. Like, was a good scratch player that had kids and didn't play for a while, and then came back, and I'm shooting like 85 every day, and I'm like, man, this isn't fun. Like, I used to shoot 74 pretty regularly, and now I'm shooting 85. Have you gotten to the point that you're okay shooting 75 with your buddies, or you're still like, man, what the hell am I doing out here?
I have a better attitude now, which is a lot easier said than done. I think, not that I had a bad attitude when I was a professional golfer, but a much better attitude where, like, one bad shot Now it's several bad shots. Don't ruin my day.
Yeah.
Now that helps. I'm usually in a wolf game, or we played Vegas yesterday, or we're playing some sort of cash game where every hole's a new tournament. Now I think I haven't tried to qualify for any. A couple of years ago I went down to try to qualify for the US Open. Shot a couple over, but tournament golf is tough now because I still have that anxiety around the greens with the bad lie or the difficult tee shot that I had late in my career. So now I live in Dallas, golf's way too expensive here to join a decent golf club. So you're looking at playing munis, and it's hard to get motivated to go out and putt on greens that are running 8 with sand, and knowing
you've played the best courses in the world, it's hard to go play.
And I'm not saying that, I'm happily go if I've got a good group of guys, it's going to be a great day out. I'm happy to pay money to go play a decent golf course. And then sometimes I like just hitting balls during the week just to get outside, feel the swing. But you're right. It's hard to play golf and enjoy it when you have to live up to the expectation of being that ex-tour player. And I've talked to a lot of guys that don't play anymore. That's where it gets a little frustrating because you're playing with people that think you're just going to
should be the guy who was on tour, right?
Yes, that you're going to be amazing. And it's not embarrassing, but it's deflating knowing that
you're basically letting people down every time you play golf. And it's like, dude, I'm just a guy. I don't play anymore.
I flubbed that chip, and they're like, I've got to make up all these excuses. Oh, you're taking putter from off the green here, are you? I'm like, dude, I'm just trying to get this inside a 10-foot circle because the hands. So, it's hard. The expectations make it a little unenjoyable sometimes when you're playing with guys that don't know who you are and they're random amateurs that just look up your Wikipedia before you tee up with them.
But, they're like, oh, my God, this guy's going to be so good. And you are in spurts, but they can't they only remember the flub chip and not the tight draws the other 14 holes.
So I'm not making excuses for my boys that might be listening, but no, I think Bacon took me out to Chichester a couple months ago to play a really good golf course. I get way more out of playing a nice venue than I used to. I wasn't an architect guy, and I was just a let's play a tournament guy. But now it's like a really good condition golf course with a great group, nice day. It really, have a cigar, maybe a couple beers. It's a cracking day. So I get a lot of enjoyment out of doing that, and a little cash on the side. You've got to have a little pressure on the side.
You got to have something. Yeah, 100%.
Something, anything. Yeah.
How's Bacon? Bacon smashes it, right?
Yeah, Bacon, I hand him 30, but he gets, I probably still get it out there 300 possibly. Okay. It helps if it helps if the fairways are a little firmer. Bacon gets it out there probably 310 easy carry, but he can also hit it 310 left or right. So it's you just got to keep on him the whole day and you wear him down. You
need Shane in a scramble. You need Shane in a scramble.
It was funny because we did a broadcast for a Korn Ferry Tour event where Blades Brown was playing well, and Bacon actually qualified for the USAM at Cherry Hills. Yeah. And Blades Brown was the medalist there as a 16-year-old. And we put this graphic up on the screen when we were covering Blades Brown in a feature group. And we were like, Bacon, he got you by 26 shots in the first 2 days. So it was, he was good enough to play in the USM. No mean feat, but the fact he got dusted by 26 by a 16-year-old.
Yeah, I always say not about Shane specifically, just about very good amateurs is guys like Shane. If you went and played, you're like, holy shit, this guy's really good. And he is very good. But it is the desert ocean that is the difference between a top amateur and a pro. I mean, Shane is I don't know what his handicap is. He's like plus, I think.
Bacon's a scratch, but you're right. Like, especially elite amateurs these days, like a statistic the other day that if no one knows this, like about October, I think Scotty Scheffler, the gap between Scheffler and Rory, right, in 1 and 2 position was bigger from the gap between Rory and the guy that was 100 in the world. Now, Rory's just come off a stellar year, and the gap between Scheffler and Rory was bigger than the gap between Rory and the guy no one knows who's in 100. Now, take that to amateur golf. Now, the elite amateurs between a scratch marker, it's a chasm. So,
oh my God,
people just don't understand how good amateurs are now, and especially the elite amateurs.
Yeah, I have this argument. We have a very, very good golfer in Alpena. He wins every City Open, and he knows he's not good enough, but he doesn't play very much. He's a fisherman. He owns a bar. He plays 40 times a year, and he can shoot 69 relatively easily. And I try to tell people, it's like if he played more, he could maybe compete in the Michigan amateur circles. But like, I cannot explain to you, and no, like, I understand they don't believe me. I get it, but it's like, it's fact. Like, he's a very good golfer, and if he worked at it, he could be even better, and he would finish 20th at the Michigan Amateur, and that's it. And like
100, it's elite amateurs are glorified modern day professionals now. Like
100%.
Outside of, they are. The NIL money's the guys are making bank.
James, have you ever? Let's cause some controversy. Will you join Colt Knost in getting your amateur status back? Have you thought about it? Have you applied for it? Would you ever do it?
No, I will never do it. And it's not because of the reason you think. It's not because I'm all high and mighty and I'm like, I would love to play the Mid-Am Tour. It's the best tour in the world. And not because I think I'd compete and play well. It's because I get to go and play all those amazing courses.
100%,
Because I'm stuck in purgatory where I'm at right now. I can't play professional golf because I'm not even mini tour golf because I'm not good enough. I can't play in member guest because they never let pros in, even though I've got a handicap. And I can't play any other. I'm not going to go Monday qualify. So I've got nowhere to play competitive golf. So that would be the only reason I ever did it, which I won't. And now the reason I won't do it is because I've been so far removed from professional golf that there's going to be people watching broadcasts that have no clue who I am. Now, if I've got an A next to my name, amateur golfer next to my name, people are going to be, even if I looked at a sport and I'm like, we got this elite amateur covering NFL, like guy that never got out of college, like great, a mid-level college decent football player, but he's covering NFL, which is two different sports, different rules. So for me, it's like, I always want to have that professional next to my name. At least if someone thinks I'm an idiot or I'm a terrible broadcaster, they can go and Wikipedia me and see, okay, actually had a cup of coffee on the PGA Tour. But for me, it's just the, I suppose just staying professional. And I wish there was, if I ever could do something, it would be for ex-professionals making a tour for guys that could go and compete. And all you would have to do is have a handicap. And now the handicap system over here is a little dodgy because like in Australia and around the world, you have a handicapper, you play competitions weekly where they put the card in. It's like a proper, but here you just get to put your own card down. Most of the guys I play with for cash games, they're all, they're like, well, I didn't play too good today. And I'm like, hang on a second, I thought you shot 68. And they're like, no, I was a 74. Yeah, that's right. So it's the handicap is so wrong.
It is.
I would never do it, but I'm also on the fence of, people complaining about guys that can't make it anymore at the professional level that are going to go play because once, like we just said, all the elite amateurs are better than Colt Knost. Yes, could Colt get back to a level where he could go and shoot 70 every day or 68 at a tournament-ready golf course? Yes, he could do that. But he's still not going to be the best amateur in the field. So
that's what I said on our Mark and I were talking about this. Like, okay, you can be pissed that he's getting it back, but he can't win.
Or change the rules. Just change it to you can't play a specific tournament like a Mid-Am if you have played a certain amount of years on the Korn Ferry Tour or whatever,
100%.
or made a certain amount of money.
Yes,
but
it's so simple to fix. And then this
it's very
controversy
simple,
goes. Colt is the next guest on our podcast. So. Okay. Korn Ferry graduates. I just looked at Johnny Kiefer's card. He's made back-to-back doubles.
Oh, what he got it to 7 under. He was running top 15. He was cruising.
Yeah, he's too over for the day. But okay, outside of Johnny Kiefer, who we agree is very good, is someone who graduated, James, that you think is going to have the most successful. Let's take out Shipley too. Shipley and Kiefer are obviously the stars.
Okay.
Of the. You were going to say Neil, I know, but someone that maybe we haven't thought of that's going to have a good rookie season or back
Well,
one of the 20.
The next couple names I'm going to say, you're probably going to tell me I'm not allowed to say them in, guys like Pearson Coody doesn't belong on the Korn Ferry Tour. Came down, was just toying with his food on the Korn Ferry Tour. Didn't get a win, but easily got his card in limited events. I mean, he's playing well this week. He could probably get his PGA Tour card twice.
Tour card back. Yeah, it's a very rare thing. He has a chance, and he did something very smart that I don't know why not a lot of other players do. Is he just committed to the Korn Ferry Tour as soon as it was remotely close? More players should do that. 100%.
Yeah, and it's easier, scheduling wise, and the courses. Once again, a guy like him and Smotherman had a great year, and he was a guy that said early on, "Hey, I don't care if I get starts because of his conditional status on the PGA Tour." He's like, "I'm going to just stay on the Korn Ferry Tour," and dominated. He turned his game around. But Cootie's one of those guys that is elite. I think he seems to struggle a little bit under pressure, not with his game, with his mindset a little bit. You can tell he's intense whenever he gets in contention. It's almost, looks like his body is going to break. Now that's a lot of guys, but as far as how he hits a tee to green, the game is flawless. No real weaknesses. I hate no real weaknesses, but when you're comparing to guys on the Korn Ferry Tour, we don't have a lot of stats out there. We don't have shot link. We can't really break down every single portion of their game. So there's a lot of eye testing when you watch these guys. But coming out, first PGA Tour University, he was a guy that got unlucky, didn't get that straight avenue to the PGA Tour, wins within a couple of weeks, nearly gets to the tour in limited events on the Korn Ferry Tour, has to come back the next year, gets it easy. And yes, Korn Ferry Tour golf courses don't translate to the PGA Tour, but the stars find a way. It's almost like there's never really a guy that, even like this year, and I could say outside of two guys this year, I think, who did I write? Justin Saar, Robbie Shelton, and Peter Quest. Three guys where I thought would get their card this year. Outside of that, there's no real surprises where, okay, it got cut from 30 to 20 cards. These guys, even though 8 winners won on the Korn Ferry Tour this year that didn't get their card, which is insane. So I think Cootie's one of those guys. He competed on the PGA Tour when he got his sponsors invitational. That's why Shipley, I thought, obviously played 10 events last year, played well. ADDC, a guy I was super high on last year, coming out in his rookie year. I was like, this kid, me and Bacon were like, he could, tongue-in-cheek, could make the Ryder Cup team when he was coming out of college. If no one knows, everyone knows who he is. Wins his first event as a professional, loses in a playoff in his second, rattles off another 4 top 10s. Guy that walks down the range as a rookie, and everyone kind of looks around. Guys that kind of watch him hit shots. And then we didn't find out till later on this year that he had an injury right before his rookie year on tour. Wrist injury. So he had to change his grip. And, you're a rookie on the PGA Tour. You've just come off a hot, end of college season. And now you're changing your grip. And he was talking about how his sight lines changed. His misses were dramatically different. And as an elite golfer, if you don't know where your miss is, you might as well just hand in your card and go back to the drawing board. So the fact he had to change his grip, then you saw him get a little more comfortable in his rookie year at the end when he was injury-free. And then obviously what he did, I know it was an easy course in Oklahoma, but smashing records.
Insane.
So I think he's a guy, now he's already got that year spent on the PGA Tour. That's with Kiefer's the only thing I'm worried about. Kiefer is just getting comfortable. How long does it take him? Now, if he gets a really good result early, which I probably, all of us can sit back and say yes. The Brennan and Kiefer is just insane. Kiefer was actually the only guy in history that won either PGA Tour Latin America, PGA Tour Canada, PGA Tour Americas, which is even more difficult than winning the points list on those other two. Now it's all combined. Yeah. He's the only guy in history to ever go first on that and Korn Ferry Tour points list. So that's just so difficult in itself. And then what's another guy? SH.
I'm going to tell a quick story about ADD, just to give him some shit. Played a practice round at the BMW. I was playing as an amateur, played with Tom Whitney and ADD, and those bastards were playing the birdie game, and they only gave me stroke. I'm a 3. I have the chipping yips. Like 3? I might hit it like a scratch, but I chip like a 12.
Me too. Yep.
And these guys gave me only they gave me 5 strokes over 18 holes, and then made me pay. I mean, the dude shot like the easiest, like 62. The courses are set up easier.
What course was this?
It was at what's the main course of the BMW? Can't think of it.
Thornblade.
Yeah, Thornblade.
Okay.
And like giving me 5. What? I was like, dude, he's got to give me like 12.
So what are you a scratch marker normally?
No, I'm a 3. Because
so I mean, these guys would have been at Thornblade.
Yeah.
For perspective, both would have been +7, +8
easily.
So you should have got at least 10.
Yeah, I got 5, and then those bastards made me pay.
Sorry, buddy.
I was like, they'll for sure not make me pay. And then I made the mistake. I was like, we'll adjust. I made the mistake of making 2 early birdies. And, again, and they're like, oh, you're not a 3. And I'm like, yeah, because I haven't missed a green yet, dude. Like, wait till I miss a green.
Yeah.
Yeah. If I can hit 18 greens, I'm +1 until then I miss
They had you. They saw you coming from a mile away.
My God.
Easy cash, just rolling down the hill.
Easy cash. Okay, Emilio Gonzalez. I just looked again at the leaderboard. Guy's 26th in Mexico. He is the guy that would be the opposite of the eye test to me, James. Like, doesn't hit it very far. Shorter guy, not big in stature, doesn't have like the big muscles that most players have. And every step of the way, he's been like pretty good. And he's like played well in tour events. He's playing well again this week. He's a very good dude. Been on my podcast, helped my foundation. And he's kind of like, I don't know why I'm surprised, but when you see him, you're just like, oh, this is just a regular dude, but like he kills it. I mean, every week he's like,
yeah. I mean, I saw it. I think I looked at his stats through a couple of rounds. He hadn't missed a fairway through 2 days out at Mexico. Now I know it's like hitting it.
Neither has Nick Dunlap, James. So I don't
know it's pretty wide.
Pretty wide.
Well, yeah, I saw he hit like 86% of greens too. So and he's putting like he's nearly dead last in putting. So he's got a lot in the bank out there. I think you're correct. He doesn't hit it too short.
No, it's not short by any means, but it's just like there's nothing that you would play with him. And he's a pro golfer, so he's great at everything. Yep. But like, you're not like, oh, this guy's special. You'd be like, oh, he's a very good player. We'll see what happens. And he's done it.
We have the advantage of obviously doing the broadcast and watching him, and he's got the X factor. That's it. So statistically, he doesn't bounce off the page, but in competition, he's got the X factor. And by the X factor, I mean, chip on your shoulder, great competitor. Obviously, won a ton in college after not getting to a D1 school. I think he won 8 times or something, or 7 times, and then he had some injuries. Last year on the Korn Ferry Tour, started the year with limited starts, medical, and turns it into a very easily kept card. Played well in the finals. So, with not having a lot of stats and having to kind of predict how good these guys and what they do well, when you have a player that doesn't jump off the page with driving distance, make every putt, great iron player, you kind of look for the variables of how does he compete under pressure. And Gonzalez does it great. It seems there's a lot of guys that have the assets to get in contention going into the weekend, and a lot of those guys find it very difficult to stay there. And he's that type of guy that kind of revels in that competitive atmosphere. And I've seen it a couple times now. And especially when you shoot, look, I know Boise's a snack and it's easy, but especially when you shoot 10 under in a final round to win a tournament, knowing that, hey, and this is what I always say about the Korn Ferry Tour. Yes, they're easy golf courses, but you're never going to get another tour in the world where you feel like you have to make everything inside of 15 feet.
Yeah.
Like no matter if it's round 1 or round 4, you just have that high pressure expectation of being over every putt going, I got to make this because everyone else is. Now, even on the PGA Tour, I always thought it was sometimes easier to make cuts on the PGA Tour because you could play well one week and get in that mode where you cruise and you're like, okay, I've got a good game plan. It's a bit more of a difficult golf course. The cut's not going to move 2 to 3 shots closing. But Korn Ferry Tour, sometimes I tell this story a lot. I was running second at one year and I had a late tee time in the second round. I bogey the first and I'm outside the cut line. So I'm like, I know it's an easy course, but your mind plays tricks on you when you're like, I still got to make 6 birdies coming home to make the cut. So he's one of those guys, chip on his shoulder because I think he's been through adversity his whole life. And I love seeing some golfers that go through adversity, even if they're stellar players. Like what's happening to Nick Dunlap is going to really help him. Now, hopefully the driver yips don't stay there, but there's a lot of guys that cruise and when they face some adversity, they crumble and it's easier said than done. But I like some of those guys that they've had to work themselves up and they're talented, but they've just had to work themselves through some difficult situations. So they can always, Scotty does so well at doing this, even though he didn't really face any adversity throughout his career, went to Highland Park High, but he's like Michael Jordan.
He was 1 for 7 at Korn Ferry Mondays, just as a.
Well, there you go. Yes, it's true. But he's just one of those guys that knows how to put a chip on his shoulder for no reason. Yeah. So I think those guys that are coming off the Korn Ferry Tour that compete really well and still have decent assets. Like there's a lot of guys in, me and Bacon do this every year where we talk about the guys we think is going to keep their card, the guys we think are going to graduate at the start of the year, and the guys we think are going to lose their card because either they're, a little green or need more experience or whatever it is. And we're usually pretty good on it. Like we were good this year on who we thought were going to get their card and all that sort of stuff. So it's hard, as I said, no excuses, but we just don't have the access to all the stats on the PGA Tour. ShotLink on the Korn Ferry Tour. So you need to find the variables of the guys you think are going to do something special when they get on tour.
Yep. James, I've kept you for an hour. I appreciate your time. I had to move this podcast. James has always been amazing to me. I appreciate the time, appreciate the discussion. Start your own podcast. Tell the stories about the things you can't, like the untold stories of life on the road.
I have to do it with a voiceover and a
I'll know that it's you, but just be like anonymous former mini tour pro, PGA Tour member, and just tell stories about off the road.
No worries. I think it's more that I've kept you for an hour.
This is amazing. I could do this forever. I appreciate it. Thanks for the time. Look forward to the Korn Ferry broadcast next season.
Anytime, Ryan. I always have a blast, and thanks for your support of all these unsung great golfers.